Facebook Live. So live on Facebook. Can you still see me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's totally gone away. So let's see.
Uh-oh.
Well, it's gone away from that. So I'm messing with Facebook right now. Bearded Property Investors next. And let's see. It's connecting. I'll minimize this. Go back. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's see. I'll let you know when we're going live. I'm just trying to read up before I hit go live. So
Okay.
will soon no longer be available. Live producer combines all. Dismiss that. Okay. What you want to call this? Title. Intro to the Bearded Boys?
Yeah, that sounds good. First step of many.
Let's see. Okay. What do you want to say about this video before I hit this go live button?
What do you mean?
You know how you post a picture and you can write whatever you want to, or you just want to leave it blank?
Gotcha. I guess how we got started without any money. But a ton of mindset and creativity.
Okay. How we got started without money, but a ton of mindset and creativity. Like it.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
I'm probably going to minimize this because it just looks weird. So, and then I'm going to see what it looks like minimized. Yeah, that looks much better. All right, here we go. Disconnected. 3, 2.
My heart's starting to beat.
Huh?
I said my heart's starting to palpitate.
Let's see. All right, here we go. We're going live. Oh, let's see what it does. It's setting up your meeting for Facebook Live. It's going live right now. There we go. It's uploading.
I think it's live.
Is
it not?
Okay. Well, it might be. Well, if we are, man, you're just going to start. It's live streaming now. So,
yeah.
Hey, guys, my name is Corey, and this is our partner, Sean O'Rourke, and we are, as one of our banker friends calls us, the Bearded Boys. So Sean been wanting to do this video for a while, but he wouldn't let me get on here until I grew out my beard. But this is the best I got, Sean.
You're looking good, man. Looking good.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, guys, we just wanted to take a time to introduce ourselves. We want to start doing a few videos on a consistent basis. Really digging out some of the nuggets that Sean has learned and what he's taught me in real estate and wholesaling and flipping. Main thing is in wholesaling, but Sean's got an incredible story of how he started with zero money, how he was working full-time dad, full-time spouse, and still grew a 6-figure income in wholesaling. Really incredible story. And we want to share a little bit about that, but then also one of our top values and why we do what we do. So my name is Corey Lee, and I partnered up with Sean. I guess it's coming up close to a year, maybe.
Yeah, it's pushing that. Yep, sure is.
Now, Sean is the face of the franchise. He's the face.
I don't know about that.
He's like the Michael Jordan, and I'm the guy who just barely made the team, sitting on the bench, you know. But my background is in the medical field. I am a physical therapist assistant, and really I'm an entrepreneur. My wife and I, we've owned a few businesses, mainly in the physical therapy space. But we built that business up, some gyms and those kind of things, sold those businesses, and now focus on coaching and training and developing leaders and building businesses. Love real estate. My wife and I say, Sean, we dabbled in it for a little bit. We did a few flips. Never really got too serious about it as we were focused on our other business, but loved, Sean and I go to church together. I love just hearing what he was doing, and I was fascinated with what he was doing. So, and his values and what he stood for in business really attracted me to what Sean was doing. And anyway, so that's a little bit about my background. Most of you that are on our Facebook page probably don't know who I am, but that's who I am. And I know Sean, most of them do. But share with us your story, your background, and how you got into real estate.
Sure. So background really began probably, I want to say probably 10 to 12 years ago, but it wasn't in real estate. It was in construction. So I had started a decorative concrete business where I stained and scored concrete, and that concrete business was doing really good. I was still doing it on the side and working full time, and built it up, and we had opened up another division in Memphis, and we were just blowing and going. And 2008, 9, and 10 hit. And in between that time, right before 2008 had hit, I was kind of tired of doing what I was doing in maintenance in factories. And so I said, it's time to just go at it full time. And I did. I was just running, and it was great. And then once the economy collapsed like it did, we initially had to shut down the Memphis division, and then we started really slacking off in Tupelo area. But I began to understand a little bit about real estate, about how houses were constructed, and getting to see that process. But that went away, and the Lord took care of me and actually put me in another position, and I was there, and everything was good. But I've always had that entrepreneurial spirit. I've always wanted to work for myself, or I've always wanted to do something for myself. So I've always done something. If that was buy a 4-wheeler and fix it up and then flip it, or whatever, drive it for a little while and act like a hooligan, and then and then sell it. But that kind of built up to where I started. So I was working with a gentleman, and he was actively flipping properties, and still does. And he come to me one day because he knew I had known the construction side. I'd actually built 2 of my own houses, or contracted them out to build. And he said, "Hey, would you be willing to help us, because we have so many projects going? I would like for somebody to kind of step in and run one of the projects." And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And I would make a small portion of the sale of the house. So we got into it, and so it was my real first project. And a month in, it was an absolute devastating nightmare. The contractor was horrible and took and stole and did all these crazy things. And I'm thinking to myself, what have I got myself into? How am I going to get out of it? And what do I do? So, I kind of scrambled. I found some other people to try to finish up the job, and turned out the job worked out really well. I made a few $1,000s off of it. But in that process of going through that, I said, there has got to be something better. It's got to be something easier, because this stinks, And so I did. I got online, and I started Googling and watching YouTube videos, and I was like, I come across wholesaling, and I was like, what? This guy, Max Maxwell, he had these great videos, and he had crews following him, and it was really intriguing. And I was watching it on YouTube, and I was like, this is cool stuff. And so I'm in it, and I'm learning what is the world's going on here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, man. Yeah.
Okay.
I
So,
was yeah, I hear you good. I was going to type in the comments, see if anybody had any questions. So while you're
okay.
talking, go ahead, go for it, man.
No, yeah, something happened on my screen. But anyway, so uh, as I'm going through that and learning that, I said, this is something that's really cool. This is something that I can actually do um, with no money. And so, I started watching these YouTube videos and figuring out how to pull these lists and get number skip traced and find these people, because what I was looking for was properties that were either sitting there vacant or distressed, or there was some reason that that property was just sitting there and people could not, didn't know what to do with their property for some reason or another. And so, I started going through that process, and Max had put out this thing where, it was called a RVM, and RVMs is where it's called ringless voicemail, and you can blast out a ton of voicemails without your cell phone ringing. But and so I did that, and found out really quick I messed up because I put like all these. You're supposed to put all these parameters in there, and I didn't put those parameters in there, and I was getting like 50,000 phone calls in 5 seconds, and I was like, what is going on? Anyway, I'm getting a little bit into in depth, but I got my first 2 houses under contract, and I come home, made good relationships with the people, and I come home and my wife's in the bed, and I'm freaking out. I'm like, I've got these 2 houses under contract. I have equitable rights to this property. What am I going to do? And, because I had no idea. I hadn't gotten that far. I just went after it and I did it. And so I started trying to figure out how to sell it. And I found a buyer that was willing to buy.
What did your wife say when you said that? What did Brittany say?
She kind of grinned, and she's good about knowing that I'm going to figure it out. So I don't really remember exactly what she said, but she she just kind of laughed, and so I figured it out, and in 2 weeks I had both contracts sold. They closed. One of them closed probably a week later. The other one didn't close for a year. And we can, as we go through these videos, I can kind of explain what ended up happening, because in real estate, you find out that there is no deal that doesn't have some type of issue or something that you have to figure out in that process. And one of those took a year to do.
Wow. Man, let me ask you this. I'm the same way. You kind of jump and build your wings on the way down, right?
Yeah.
What do you say to those people that are just kind of sitting there and they get the analysis by paralysis? I think me and you both have the fire, ready, aim, right? And not ready, aim. It's fire, ready, and aim, right?
Yeah.
But there's got to be a balance too, right? I've gotten into trouble by firing before I'm ready and aiming, right? But what do you say to those people who are sitting there and they've got that analysis by paralysis?
Yeah. So my perception on that is you will never achieve any type of success overanalyzing any action you do. And that goes from changing the tire on your truck to making a real estate deal. If you overanalyze trying to figure out how to change the tire on your truck, your tire's probably not going to get changed and you're going to have a flat.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same scenario in real estate. And that's my opinion, okay? Because you're going to make mistakes. Some of those mistakes could potentially cost you big. You do have to be careful. You do have to have some type of analysis, but at the same point, if you don't go for it, you're never going to be successful.
Yeah. Me and you, we look at deals. What's your process there? Because every one of them have some form of risk involved, right? And you could continue to analyze. What are you looking for in a deal that makes you say, yeah, I'm good? What are you looking for?
My key thing that I'm looking for is is there an ability to help this person? Because I think, and this is kind of goes back to our motto, but can I help the person? And in return, is there an ability to profit from that? But then also, take what you know and risk versus reward. So look at the numbers and say, okay, does this make sense for me? But then also, does it make sense for everybody else? So I really want to be fair to everyone that I'm doing business with, and also tell them up front if I am the person for them or not. And if I'm not, just be honest with them and say, look, this is the route that I think you should go. You may not want to take my word for it. You may want to ask around, but in my opinion, the best method is this way, not me. Or the best method is not me giving you cash, but me helping you out on terms, or whatever the case may be. So I take it case by case and weigh that risk versus reward for myself and my family.
So shout out real quick, Sean. Brad said, just listening to probably the two smartest guys I've ever met. So
look out.
So he's about to, you putting gray hairs on his head though. So
Brad's a good guy, man. I don't know what I could do with. I don't know how we could go without him. I can tell you that.
That's right. I agree. Sean, so that kind of goes into one of our top value. Here's one thing I've found in coaching people and doing leadership training. You've got to know what your values are, right? And if you never dug into that, it's an important exercise, because you have moments in life where you got to make a choice. And if you don't know what you stand for, or you don't know what your values are, it makes it a tough decision. If you know what your values are, it makes the decision, does it line up? Yes. Okay, go for it. If it doesn't, then you don't do it, right? Mm-hmm. One of our top values is people over profit, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
People in the business world may look at that and they may shun that and say that's crazy. Why do we think, from your standpoint, why do we think that is so important? You had that value before I even came on, but I inherently had that value too, and I think that's what made it mesh. But why is that value important?
Yeah. So there's a couple of things, a couple of ways to look at it. Number one, ultimately, in life, as men and women, or, you and I as men, in my opinion, honestly, a man only has one thing, and that he stands for, besides faith, is his word. And when you tell somebody you're going to do something, you do it, or you darn near try to kill yourself to do it. But also, that leads into caring about other people. If you care about that person and you care about their problems, or you care about their, them in general, two things will happen. One, you gain a relationship with somebody, but two, you also build trust with that person. And by gaining a relationship and building trust, you're going to succeed. The monetary value will be here at some point, because ultimately you're a businessman, you understand, the deals, but you treat that person with respect and dignity and care about their values. And in turn, that will greatly benefit you. And for instance, I had those very first two deals that I ever did, those two houses, that same family we cared about each other enough. And they love me to death. They'll send me messages today, but they brought me another deal in Columbus. They brought me another deal in Tupelo, and I'm actually lease option in a property that they have in Saltillo. The very first people that I met and built that relationship with, and that value, and cared about their situation, because it was a terrible situation that they were in, not only built a relationship with them, but also brought me other deals, because they knew when Sean said he's going to do something, he's going to take care of me, and because he cares.
Mm-hmm. People can trust that, right? Like, I mean, I've dealt with a lot of people in in the business world, and you have to have your guard up, right? And there's a book out called The Speed of Trust. And it's kind of more of a business book, but it talks about your team will grow at the speed of trust. So if there's high trust, your business will grow fast. If there's low trust, your business will grow slow. But it's the same thing in relationships, either with vendors or even if we're sitting at someone's house and we're talking about buying their home, that deal is going to go at the speed of trust, really. Yeah. And if there's high trust, and if we've given them any reason to doubt or any reason to be uncertain about us, then that deal is going to go slow, right? And naturally, that the guard is up initially, but
let's go back to continuing to kind of talk about where I started. So I think that means a lot to kind of where we are on this first video, and so after those couple of deals, I started searching out for people that knew more than me. And I think that is high value to anybody that's willing to watch this, is you find people and surround yourself with people that know more than you do, that are what I consider in a different tax bracket, okay? A different IQ bracket, whatever the case may be. And so I did. I started looking for people, and I found some guys down in Hattiesburg, and Brett and Adam took me under their wing. I went through a course with them, their very first one, and started learning. Okay, so they had already kind of put a system together, and I started learning from them. And initially I kind of felt like I wasn't getting what I needed, because my brain is constantly running 5,000 miles an hour, and I expect to be here when I'm really here. And so, I told them that. I told them I didn't feel like I was getting everything I needed, and they told me to just chill and it's going to be okay. And, and I did, and I followed their lead, which really escalated where I was to what I was able to do. And two, that goes back to building value, because, number one, they put value into me, but then in that process, I also brought value to them. So I was able to do deals with them, also monetarily give them some kickback off of the things that I was doing, because without them ultimately, and I was great with that, because without them ultimately, I would never have been able to, it would have taken me drastically longer to do what I did, instead of being able to do what I did in the time frame that I did it in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so through that's where I started learning. I got people that knew a lot more than I did, and started learning from them, and then calling them when I needed help, and talking to other people that are around here locally, and asking questions, and being willing to accept that, I'm going to mess up, but I'm still going to just drive forward. I'm going to drive forward, and I'm going to learn as fast and as hard as I can.
Yeah. I put in our comments right here, I put lessons from your story, and I've got 3 of them, but I think there's some more in there. But the first one, I said, you figure it out. You don't make excuses, right? You mentioned that. And the second one is, you find people who know what you need to know. You found people, you sought that out. And that could be, what you did, found somebody like that. It could be in a book. It could be in a podcast. I mean, it could be reaching out to us on social media. Sean, you talk to people all the time. They have questions, and you kind of coach and mentor them a little bit too. And then the other one was, the last one I put, third one, is be coachable, right? You had to be coachable. I'm sure there were things that they told you to do, and you had to prove that you were worthy kind of their time.
Yeah.
And you had to go do it. And if they asked you to do something and you didn't go do it, then they didn't really want to waste their time there. So as if you're watching this and you're thinking about growing and developing, and you find someone, whether it's through the podcast or someone live, and they give you some information and some action steps, go do it, right? And that's how you get even more of their time and even more of their coaching. So any other thoughts on that? We've got about 2 more minutes. Anything you want to share on your story or anything else?
Well, yeah. So the biggest thing that I want to kind of let everyone know is, and it was kind of I think in the comments, was basically anybody can do this if they're willing. I am a full-time dad or full-time husband. I'm full-time. I work full-time, and I do real estate full-time realistically. And in a year's time, I was able to do well into the 6-figure mark and acquire properties in less than a year, and we own them and cash flow them, and without really any money that expense. So it just goes back to the willingness and also the communication. So my poor wife, she gets the short end of the stick sometimes, and so does my family. I mean, I put a lot of time into doing real estate, but the hope is that we can clearly communicate, and continue to grow, and in that also with having real estate, get times where I can actually cut that time that I'm spending on real estate and take that time and put it towards my family.
Yeah.
So I've got a long-term goal.
Yeah. And that's where we're heading to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You care to, do you want to tell them how many, in a year's time, how many houses, how many doors we have, rentals?
Well, it's actually less than a year.
Yeah. Less than a year.
Yeah, it's less than a year.
And the reason we're sharing this is mainly going back to that point where most people say, I don't have the money, right? So we've done what you're about to say, how many doors we have with little to no money out of pocket. So how many doors we got, Sean?
Yeah, as everything goes well with the last one we've got right now, it's 24. 24.
All of them cash flowing, and probably average cash flow between $200 and $300 each, probably.
Yeah.
Yes. So any other things you want to share, Sean?
No, I think that's it for the first time. Like I said, I want to kind of reiterate to everyone is anybody can do it. Really, anybody can do it. Do not get stuck in analysis paralysis, and also trust yourself. But care about people, not about profit.
Yeah, people over profit. We like it.
Yeah.
Well, we hope we just want to do this video, introduce ourselves. We're going to try to make this a consistent basis and do it on certain topics that people find interesting and maybe find helpful. If you have specific questions, reach out to us or specific topics you want us to talk about. We'll be happy to do that whenever it comes to real estate investing and mindset. We can do some mindset. If you're looking for somebody to come alongside you and coach, let me see if I can add something else to Sean's plate, and he'll be your coach.
Yeah. And I have in this past year, I've taken on and helped some people and gotten some deals done. And so I do like that part of it. That's a really good part of what we do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you guys. Y'all have a great day. Make sure to share this with a friend or family member and reach out to us if you have any questions. See you guys next week.
See ya.
All right.